An RV that's a little bit smaller and lighter, maybe you have a smaller tow capacity or you just don't want something too big, but you don't want to go to a single axle for various towing reasons, it's just not your preference, that's exactly where this one comes in right here. It's only about 23 foot tip to tail, tongue to bumper. Before you put cargo, it's only a little over 4,700 pounds, but it has a big deep slide and a wide open concept to give you a huge open feel with a lot of other features like a bigger air conditioner, a heated belly, a solar package to help you enjoy your trip either in or out of the parks. And despite the fact the small camper has a pretty nice spacious interior, we didn't want to neglect the outside of it. That's why we did still maintain an easy tilt rain dump power awning. If you don't know what that means, if it is kind of a rainy day, once enough weight builds up on that awning, it will actually drop one side down, spill the water off and bring it back up. But if you just pull on those awning arms with 2 fingers, you can actually tilt that yourself. And if you leave it kind of crooked and roll it up, it sorts itself right out. It's not going to be a service worry whatsoever. It's one of the reasons we kind of went with this outfit. A lot of our goal was what can we do to sort of engineer the warranty out of this. Now you might notice we got a nice little patio set up over here. The chairs are kind of out for decoration purposes, but the table is actually something that we have included for you. One of the reasons there is, I mean, you can always find a use for a table, you know, somewhere around a campsite, but some campsites don't always provide you with a picnic table, and some of the ones that are provided, kind of gross, whether it's the wildlife doing who knows what on them, or the people that were in the site before you just leaving a mess on the table. And we wanted to make sure that didn't eat into your cargo space. So if you take a look down in here, first of all, you might notice it's an extra large front cargo compartment with the big easy access baggage doors on both sides. But you may notice that black bracket at the top. That gives you the perfect place to keep that picnic table in transit without interfering with any of your other cargo space. And as long as we're kind of talking about your patio space, when the sun's not shining, when evening hits, we did put a full-length LED light strip on here so you can enjoy as much time as you possibly can out on your RV. Now, if it's a rainy day or if you just slip or you forget about it, we did put an anti-slam entry door on this, so it takes a pretty hefty gust of wind. I think it's like a 25-mile-an-hour gust to try to get that sucker to slam. And if you're moving it slowly, it moves easily. It just takes a real big shove for it. You can see even then it still doesn't slam shut. The larger entry handle's a standard issue item here, just to give you something a little more substantial to grab onto. Here's a little pro tip on that. When you are traveling, make sure you have this flipped over the door. If you hit a really bad pothole or chuck hole or something like that, sometimes it's not necessarily impossible for a camper door to pop. This is just another layer of protection to keep that thing closed. And the larger stable step platform that we have here just gives you a little more stability as you're coming and going. I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but I have. Having like, you cook a whole bunch of stuff outside on the camper. You have a big old platter full of whatever you're cooking, brats, burgers. You try to go walking in the RV and the steps sort of wiggle under you. You almost lose everything you just spent all that time cooking. That's not a whole lot of fun. Now, my dog doesn't mind if he eats a hot dog off the ground, but my wife, a little more particular than that. And when it does come to cooking, on the back side of the RV right here, we actually do have a gas grill quick connect. Not everybody wants to bring a grill or a griddle with them, but if you do, we want to give you a place that you can hook that up on the RV. And finally, as we wrap our way around the back of the RV, I want to talk about the taillights. Seems every RV's got them. What's so special about these? It's this little segment down here. Doesn't look like much right now, but at night, when you shift into reverse, just like your vehicle, these are deceptively bright elements. Like, you don't want to be staring right at them at night, or else, when you blink your eyes and you see the little light fairies floating around, that's what these will do. Really nice for seeing what you're doing back here. And should you choose to add a backup camera to the RV, right above me here, it is backup camera prepped, so that can make for an easy sort of, nighttime backup viewing situation. The big long bracket to the right of that is your ladder prep, because these do have a snow load walk-on roof. That doesn't necessarily mean a lot for everybody in every climate, but for someone like me, I'm from Michigan, we can get some serious snow sometimes, and I know that other places definitely get more of it than we do. It means you don't have to try to get up there slipping around on a roof in the winter, shoveling snow off your camper. It's not something we wanted for our customers. This guy right here is our water heater. There's a couple different varieties out there. This is a gas and electric. And every RV, every water heater has advantages and drawbacks. This being gas and electric can work very well for almost any style of RV camping. If you're park camping, you can leave the electric mode on and it'll just sit there and constantly tend your water tank, so you always have hot water available. If you're going to be boondocking, dispersed camping, you can flip it over to propane mode and still maintain hot water. Actually, propane recharges a little bit faster. But what's cool about this, you can flick both sides on at the same time, and you can get about 18 gallons of hot water out of a 6-gallon vessel right here. That's really good if you're gonna take some back-to-back serious showers. And again, it seems like a small thing, like, well, of course campers would include that. But a spare tire standard from the factory, that's not an assumption you should make. It is crazy how many RVs do not include a factory standard spare. I really hope you never need to use this thing. But if that need arises, we wanted to make sure you were covered right here. And again, this sounds really silly. This tire matches the rest of the tires on the RV. Something you really got to watch out for. Some campers have like optional off-road tire packages, but that doesn't always change the spare tire on the RV. And having been doing this for a while, we know how to navigate that so that you never have to worry about it. So one of the things that always impresses me about this model is, despite its small size, because this only has about a 20-foot box, how open and spacious this is. There's several things helping us get there. This does have a taller ceiling as compared to the industry standard. From the floor to the ceiling will measure right at 6'9". That's 3 inches taller than most RVs out there. Manufacturers kind of mask this though. They use a lot of numbers people aren't used to seeing. Like they can tell you 78 inches, 81 inches. It's not that it's hard to do the math. It's just that that's not what we think. 6'9", we know what that is. That's easy. That's like somebody who plays basketball, you know what I mean? The light color palette in here also really opens up the space. A key difference factor here on this floor plan is this is a full depth rack and pinion floor flush slide, and that creates so much extra area. This model also is an open concept bedroom. We do provide you a privacy curtain, so you can, if you want to close this off, you can, but it gives you all of the negative space that you get to absorb, so you never really feel claustrophobic. And with the big slide out, nobody has to do that funny little travel trailer 2-step crab walk, to get past each other. You don't have to do the belly bump. There's always room in here to sit down, to stretch out, and not trip over each other on a rainy day in the camper. Now, one of the things here to remember over in the slide out in your sort of daytime lounging living space is, with a taller ceiling, we were able to put in a little bit taller slide out. Now, it obviously, if I'm a little over 6 foot tall, it looks like I would hit my head. But by the time you're moving down into the sofa, it's very natural, it's organic. You really don't tend to concuss yourself on one of these, and when you sit up, you're moving out of it. This model right here has a big sofa space. As you can see, like, it's definitely an easy 2-person sofa, but if you kind of prefer to sort of kick sideways, maybe lay your legs over your partner or something like that, there's plenty of room here. Or maybe grab a big pillow, sneak a little midday nap. But the thing is, this is actually a 4-in-1 seating solution, because the next thing, you can use it for a little bit of what I call a dinofa, since we ship with it this little floating table, basically. Now, what's cool about this, for the most part, this is a couple's model. You only need really seating and dining for 2. But if you're gonna have friends over, play some cards or something, nothing's stopping you from setting a couple chairs over there. And because we have so much space, even if you do have a couple people there, you're not blocking off and interfering with the flow and the travel of the camper. Now, 2 more things here. First of all, this is actually what's called a jackknife storage sofa. And if you put it in a little flying V formation like that, it'll just hold itself. There's no special magic associated with it, but it creates a big storage pocket down here. This could be really handy for that table that we just saw, or some extra large things, like whether it's totes or griddles or just blankets, stuff that you don't use every day. Some of that bonus stuff can ride down here very nicely. But then if you just continue to pull it down, this drops down into a pretty reasonably sized sleeper. So I'm a little bit over 6 foot myself. I haven't tested it. I don't think I'm going to completely fit without kind of laying a little bit in a curled position. So it's going to be a little bit better here, perhaps for, a kid, a big dog, something like that. But if, I get on the ropes with my wife and I have to camp with you for a little bit, I could probably make this work for a weekend. There's kind of a 5th hidden benefit to this system right here, because it is a full floor flush rack and pinion system. And when you look down in there, there's really nothing in the way. If you wanted to remove this sofa and put in a couple recliners or a desk or whatever you wanted, there's nothing stopping you from kind of customizing this to be a little more in tune with your personal preferences. And despite the fact that this RV has this nice, big, open, spacious, comfortable feel, I think the kitchen is kind of secretly one of its best qualities. First of all, the amount of just easy access horizontal prep space that you get in this is really hard to find in this size camper. So first of all, you've got your big farm sink over here, but by including the dish drying rack and the cutting board cover, it creates a whole bunch of additional countertop prep space that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily have. And we do have the sprayer faucet to make cleaning some of those things a little bit easier. As we move our way back right here, the stovetop cover also can provide you a little bit of extra functional space. You're probably not going to do a lot of real heavy duty prep work on this, but like if you walk in with some grocery bags, you just need all the space you can to set everything down. That's really, really useful. You might notice a little bit of extra space behind it. We found that works really, really well for keeping your salt, pepper, spices, all that kind of stuff. But this over here, we could have ended the kitchen counter right here. A lot of companies do it, and frankly, it works just fine. It's not bad. But we had all this space, and we're like, when is too much counter space or too much cabinet space ever a thing? And we never really could answer that question. So we filled it up. We put all the counter space and cabinet area in here we could. And notice where your power outlets are located. Right down close to countertop level, not under an overhead cabinet where they're hard to reach. That's one of the really unsung but best benefits of a wood studded sidewall in a camper. Just like your house, you have studs about every 16 inches on center. You can put the power outlets where you want. You can run wiring through the walls. And if you feel like adding something to these walls, just get a little stud finder. As every guy knows, you hold it up to your chest and say, yep, there's one. That's how it's calibrated. And then you can mount whatever you want on the walls, you know, within reason from there. Like you want to put a big old mega jumbotron on this sucker across from that sofa, you absolutely could accomplish that goal. But what's easy to miss is how much storage we have in here. As we go through here, one of the things you'll notice is we're really trying to exercise what we call not an ounce of space gone to waste. Like with our taller ceiling, there was room above that microwave. So we opened it up. That could be a great little bread storage kind of location. And with the taller ceiling, we can have some taller cabinetry where you can keep some bigger objects like this kind of stowed and tucked away. Right over here by the door though, it's kind of easy to miss, but you will definitely miss not having it, is your pantry space. And this is the same depth as the refrigerator. We've obviously got you know, some snacks staged up for you here to kind of give you the idea, but you can really pack heavy and tow small with this camper. This is also a full-size 10 cubic foot 12-volt compressor fridge, and I want to point that out because there are some models that have gone a little bit smaller. The biggest difference here compared to the classic fridges of yesteryear is that it's just much, much deeper, and it is a very fast active compression cooling system, similar to your residential refrigerator you have in your own home. So you end up with ice cream you can scoop instead of ice cream soup. A little bit better look at the farm sink there for you. Then down here, the top drawer, that is actually just a basic sponge drawer because it's a little too close to the sink to use as a traditional drawer, but you do still have a couple handy silverware drawers there and a full propane oven. That right there, that is what we call the fully featured kitchen, where you have the oven, microwave, and full refrigerator. Some manufacturers have started going to that kind of combination electric oven microwave, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. But if you are off-grid camping, it doesn't really provide you full function, and full function was always our goal. Up in the front bed area, first thing I want to mention is that it is obviously an open concept. That does make the whole RV look and feel a little bit bigger. Some folks don't really love feeling open and exposed while they sleep. That's why we still include the privacy curtain here for you. So you can enclose it if you want, which is really handy if you are, you know, sleeping a guest on the sofa over here. As I get out of your way here, we do have a north-south easy walk-around queen bed. You might notice how we have these extra large side stands. With having a taller ceiling, we were able to provide normal height hanging wardrobe towers and just have extra space below them. And that creates some really cool opportunities. That's part of the reason we put the household outlets on both sides of the bed. You want to put a little standing fan next to you, maybe you're a CPAP user, or you just need to charge your phone. Plenty of room over here to be able to do that. Another interesting thing you can kind of do with this floor plan as a result, if you want something a little bit bigger than a queen bed, if you don't mind the mattress under the side stands a little bit, you could put maybe an Olympic queen or perhaps some kind of king bed in here. Understanding again though, the mattress is going to slide under these just a touch. But that's a unique option that you have available on this. Now in terms of storage, beginning your side wardrobe closets are just pretty traditional hanging closets, but at least you do have a place to hang some clothes. If you felt like turning that into more dresser storage, you could always get one of those little hanging organizers, probably off Amazon, and do whatever you'd like with it. So it's going to be very simple to change around. The open pocket up top, we do include the totes with it so that this can remain a functional space and you don't have to go get the extra objects to outfit this area. And there is a nice little lip here to help keep these things from falling out, especially once they're loaded with stuff. They tend to stay in place pretty well. And recently here, we totally redesigned our underbed storage to just maximize the ease and function of it. You might notice the dresser stands don't meet in the middle. That's completely by intention. We provide for a little collapsible laundry basket you can pop up, and it's really nice. The clothes that we wore yesterday, it's really nice that you don't just have to throw them in a pile by the bed. This makes a great spot for it, or hide them under the sofa, because that's no fun to dig them back out when you're done. But what if, I have people ask me all the time, where do I put my pet's dishes, cat litter box, pet pad, just extra shoes, things like that. You could use this all kinds of different ways. And you might notice you haven't lost the storage. It's just become a little bit easier to access. The storage opens off the side of the bed base now. So what if the two of you don't wake up at exactly the same time, but you need to get something that you have stowed away under the bed? Now you don't have to get your partner out of bed, lift the whole thing up, and then dig around in the big storage trunk. Now you just grab it, close it, and go. So as we slide back into the bathroom, first of all, I just want to mention that this bathroom door locks. I know a lot of people, frankly, myself included, I just like that extra layer, that knowledge of privacy. Being a little more public in that regard, not my favorite thing. And I say that, I understand the irony as I sit on a toilet on camera. I think there's a little bit of a difference there, but I'm well over 200 pounds, probably closer to 225 right now, which I'm not proud to admit. And I'm a little over 6 foot tall. And I got all the room I need here to do what I do. This isn't the world's biggest bathroom, and I will tell you, it really helps to have this shower door open to give you some left elbow room. But does it need more? I've always kind of felt like this is enough for a little solo or couples camping getaway weekend. That's enough. Now we threw some shelving in the back corner over here, and what I'll tell you is one of the best things you can do is what you're seeing right here. Roll the towels up and kind of stuff them in burrito style, and that'll really help keep things in place. Then when you get to your destination, whether it's your shaving kits or whatever the case may be, you have room to set things out. Sliding back here into the shower, being a little bit taller, I really appreciate how our taller ceiling allows me to stand in here without my head being locked into a skylight. I can get through a weekend like that. I just prefer to not have to do that. Now, some folks feel these radius showers are a little restrictive on the elbow room, especially when the shower head's facing this way, because you tend to bring your arms up and you'll bump the door. So my suggestion here is when you are, soaping up, turn to face the door or face directly toward that corner, and it really frees up a lot of the wingspan. Now, right over here around the corner, it's the simplest little thing sometimes, but as somebody who goes camping, I really like a medicine cabinet and not just a mirror glued against the wall. I get it sometimes for an RV to be a less expensive price point. That is an accommodation that you make, but I like to have a place to kind of put stuff away and leave it there for transit. But when I get out of the shower, I need a place to put towels, and a lot of RVs don't provide those. So we did. Now, in this position, this could work either for hanging your, shower towels or even a couple hand towels down here for the sink. Now, the sink space, the counter space is fairly limited. And if you look down below the sink, you don't see a lot of storage. There's a lot of plumbing action going on down there, but we did what we could to leave you some kind of shelf space. And I think that's probably one of the best places for your shampoos and your body washes to go during transit, because you can close it away and keep it from flying all over. Then to keep you comfortable through the various camping seasons, we're going to begin up top, to kind of help you through the hot camping season, where most of us go camping, with your air conditioner. The trick is, visibly, it's really hard to know which one's which. Thankfully, I've got the answers for you. A lot of RVs this size will have a 13,500 BTU air conditioner. That might not mean anything to you, but I bet 20 degrees does. If it's 100 degrees outside, a normal RV air conditioner will get you maybe, at best, 20 degrees cooler in here versus out there. Sitting inside, sweating to 80 degrees, I don't think that's everybody's idea of camping. At least it's not mine. So we have these outfitted with a basically 50% more effective 15,000 BTU air conditioner. Basically, it'll give you an extra 10 degrees of cooling power in this camper. So again, if it's 100 degrees outside, would you rather be 80 in your camper or 70? I'd rather it be 70. So we gave you the bigger air unit. And down here, if it is, you know, chilly mornings, evenings, anything like that, you do have your propane furnace factory standard here. And a lot of RVs in this class will have one, but there occasionally are a couple very questionable decisions made within the industry. Not every RV always guarantees has a propane furnace. So if I'm in a park, I'm warm. If I'm out of a park, I'm still warm.